Memories feel like the bedrock of who we are. They are the stories we tell ourselves about the past, the threads that weave together our identity. But what if those memories, so vivid and certain, aren't actually real? What if the very things you believe happened are distortions, fabrications, or even complete illusions? Today, we're diving deep into the mystery of memory and uncovering the surprising truth about what it really means to remember. First, let's start with the basics. Memory is often thought of as a kind of mental video recorder, something that plays back our past experiences exactly as they happened. But modern science tells a different story. Memories are not static recordings, but dynamic reconstructions. Each time you recall something, your brain actively rebuilds that memory using fragments of information, influenced by your current emotions, beliefs, and context. This means your memories are not fixed. They're fluid and fallible. Imagine your brain as a storyteller, piecing together a tale from bits and pieces of fact, feeling, and imagination. Sometimes the storyteller makes mistakes or fills in gaps with assumptions. That's why two people can remember the same event very differently, or why your own memory can change over time. One of the most startling discoveries in memory research is the phenomenon called false memories. These are memories of events that never actually occurred, but which feel just as real and detailed as true memories. For example, a classic study showed that people could be led to remember an entire episode of being lost in a mall as a child, an event that never happened, simply through suggestion and imagination. These false memories are not lying or deliberate deception. The brain genuinely constructs these experiences as if they were real. This raises a profound question. If our memories can be so easily manipulated or fabricated, how much of what we think we know about our past is actually trustworthy? Our memory's unreliability doesn't just stop at the occasional false memory. Even genuine memories fade, distort, or become exaggerated. Over time, the details blur, and the emotional tone shifts. Sometimes, the brain prioritizes the emotional essence over factual accuracy. Think about a happy childhood memory. The feelings of warmth and safety might remain strong, but the precise details, the exact conversations, the faces, the setting, can become fuzzy or mixed with other memories. Our mind often edits memories, like a film director, emphasizing certain parts and downplaying others to maintain a coherent and meaningful narrative about ourselves. The idea that our memory is malleable has huge implications, especially in areas like law and justice. Eyewitness testimonies, once considered rock-solid evidence, are now known to be unreliable. People who are completely confident about what they saw can be mistaken, sometimes catastrophically so. This is because the act of recalling a memory is a vulnerable moment where misinformation can creep in, whether through leading questions, discussion with others, or simply the brain's natural tendency to fill in blanks. Beyond the scientific, this fragility of memory touches on something deeply philosophical. If our sense of self is built on memories, and those memories are uncertain, then who are we really? Philosophers have long debated whether identity depends on memory. John Locke famously argued that personal identity is tied to continuous consciousness and remembered experiences. But if those experiences can be distorted or imagined, does that mean identity is equally fragile or even illusory? Maybe, instead of a fixed self, what we really have is an ongoing process of storytelling, a narrative that we revise and reconstruct every day. But here's a comforting thought. The imperfection of memory doesn't mean our lives are meaningless. or that our sense of self is a lie. Instead, it suggests that remembering is more of an art than a science. Our brains don't just store data, they create meaning. This creative aspect of memory lets us make sense of our past, heal from trauma, and even imagine new futures. Memory's fluidity can be a tool for growth, not just a source of error. So what can we do with this knowledge? How can understanding the nature of memory change the way we live? First, it encourages humility, a kind of inner softening. Recognizing that our memories, even the vivid ones, might not be as reliable as we think, helps us let go of the illusion of certainty. We're not flawless historians of our lives, but fallible interpreters. We misremember, reshape, and revise, and so does everyone else. This awareness makes us more open-hearted when hearing others' versions of shared experiences. Instead of arguing over what really happened, we begin to see that memory is personal, not universal. Each past is tinted by emotion, belief, and context. Disagreement becomes less about who's right and more about how a moment can live differently in two minds. That humility also turns inward. It helps us show compassion to ourselves when we struggle with the past. How often do we replay regrets or mistakes, thinking we're seeing the truth? But what if those replays are just emotional interpretations? What if the pain isn't from the facts, but from the story we've told ourselves? Realizing memory is a construction gives us the power to reshape it, not by denying the past, but by changing how we carry it. Second, it invites mindfulness in how we create and preserve memories. If remembering is more art than science, then we're all artists, shaping the gallery of our lives. What we choose to reflect on and retell becomes what stays. Moments of deep presence, when we are fully immersed, truly alive, are what endure. When we pause to see someone, to feel the wind, or to savor a laugh, we plant memories with intention. Simple tools help. Journaling shapes our thoughts, stories help us understand, and quiet reflection lets moments settle within us. Memory isn't just about the past. It's a living, evolving dialogue between who we were, who we are, and who we're becoming. Each act of remembering is also an act of recreation. So when a memory returns, joyful or painful, pause, ask, how much is fact? How much is feeling? And do I still need to tell it this way? Because inside every memory is not just a moment gone, but a chance to meet yourself again.
If this made you pause, if you're drawn to deeper truths and quiet strength, then you're in the right place. Like, subscribe, and keep exploring with us. See you in the next one.